Hello and welcome to another of our Workplace Relations On Demand series. My name is Sally and this is Amy, and we're here today to talk about probationary periods. Now, as many of you are aware, probationary periods are typically a period of time that an employer can use to assess an employee's suitability for a particular role or for the business. And one common misconception that we often get is that if an employee is within their probationary period, you can terminate the employee without risk. Is this the case?
It's not, and there's always going to be risk if you're contemplating dismissing someone, regardless of the length of service. Someone can be within that probationary period, but still be able to bring a general protections or an adverse action claim, and that actually goes to an employee who hasn't yet started their employment with you. The risk does start to diminish when you're starting to think about those unfair dismissal claims, because for an employee to bring an unfair dismissal claim, they need to have completed 6 months service, or if you're a small business employer, 12 months. So any employee can bring an adverse action claim. There are those minimum requirements for unfair dismissal claims.
Okay, Amy. So, and another misconception we get is in relation to performance and conduct issues for employers that are during their probationary periods. It's not necessary to address these, just as long as you terminate before the probationary period is up.
Again, when it comes to performance or misconduct, deal with those issues as and when they arise. That is really important. Remember, the purpose of a probation period is for both you and the employee to work out, is this right, is this going to work? If at the end of that period you decide no, ideally, if there has been a performance issue along the way, you've addressed it, you've got that evidence. So you're in a better position if ultimately you make that decision, this isn't right, to demonstrate that there is a valid reason there. What I often see, however, Sally, is if somebody isn't performing or we don't quite think they're right, rather than address it, an employer will just say, well, I'll just tack on another few months to that probationary period. Have you come across that?
Yeah, so and typically before you would even consider doing that, you would make sure that your contract of employment provides for it, because you can get in trouble if you've got a 6-month probationary period and all of a sudden you decide to unilaterally extend that by another 3 months. However, that being said, we would typically advise our members not to extend probationary periods depending on the circumstances. But the reason being is the moment an employee clicks over that minimum employment period that you talked about for unfair dismissals, it doesn't matter whether or not they're in their probationary period under your contract or not, they can bring an unfair dismissal claim. So I guess the take-home message is that if you have employees during their probationary period and there are issues that come up, deal with them, seek advice if you need to, and don't assume that everything will be okay just because they're in their probationary period.
And certainly if you're thinking of dismissing, definitely take advice.
Yes.
Have you got some information, some documents that demonstrate and validate that reason?
Exactly.
And we're always here to help you if you need some advice.